The story opens with a peaceful morning at the ranch. The golden sun rises over the hills, painting everything in soft shades of orange and gold. It's the kind of calm that only Heartland can give. The sound of horses, the creak of barn doors, the smell of fresh hay. Amy is busy as always, training a new horse that's been brought in from a nearby farm. The horse is wild, nervous, and restless, much like Amy's own emotions these days. Since Ty's death, she's built her life around helping others heal, even when she still struggles to heal herself. Lindy, her daughter, runs across the yard, her laughter echoing through the morning air. Jack watches from the porch, his eyes soft but knowing. There's something unspoken in the way everyone moves around Amy. A quiet understanding that she carries both strength and sadness in equal measure. Nathan, the new horse trainer who's been working closely with Amy, arrives with a calm smile. He's careful, respectful, aware of the space she needs. Yet there's something in his eyes, a secret, a thought, a feeling, that the audience can't quite place. The ranch feels different in this episode. There's a mood that's heavier than usual, almost spiritual. The camera lingers on old photographs in Amy's house, pictures of her and Ty, moments frozen in time. The wind outside grows stronger, and a door swings open suddenly. Amy turns, her breath catching for a second. It's just the wind, she tells herself. But the way the music swells in that moment makes us wonder. Is it really just the wind? Later, Amy walks to the paddock where Ty once worked on a project to help wounded horses. The space is quiet now, covered in dust and memories. She kneels beside an old toolbox and finds something. A photo of Ty and their first horse together, Spartan. She stares at it, and a tear falls silently. The camera focuses on her face. Strong, beautiful, but tired. It's as if the ranch itself is holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Then, Nathan calls out to her, breaking the moment. "Amy, you okay?" he asks softly. She nods, quickly wiping her eyes. "Yeah," she says, forcing a smile. But her voice trembles, and for the first time in a long while, Amy feels like she's not alone. Not because of Nathan, but because of something else. Something unseen. The atmosphere grows thick, the music fades into a low hum, and the audience feels it too. The ghost of Ty isn't gone. Not completely. This first part of the episode sets up everything. The mood, the tension, and the emotion that will carry through the story. It's about love that lingers beyond life, about memories that refuse to fade, and about a woman learning that sometimes the past doesn't need to be forgotten. It just needs to be understood. Nathan watches her from a distance, his arms crossed, his face unreadable. There's a quiet respect in the way he looks at Amy, admiration mixed with concern. He knows she's strong, but he also knows that some wounds don't fully heal. As Amy begins to train Shadow, something strange happens. The horse reacts, not to her words but to a sound none of them can hear. It raises its head sharply and looks toward the open field. Amy freezes too, her breath catching in her chest. The sound of wind shifts, faint but clear. A whisper, almost like a voice carried from far away. The music drops into silence. Amy turns toward the field where Ty used to ride. The grass moves like waves, and for a moment the air feels different, heavier, colder. A single feather falls from the sky, landing near her feet. She bends down, picks it up, and stares at it for a long time. Nathan walks closer, his boots crunching on the gravel. "You all right?" he asks quietly. Amy nods but doesn't answer right away. "It's strange," she says finally, her voice trembling. "Sometimes I feel like he's still here." Nathan looks at her. He doesn't smile, doesn't say anything comforting. Instead, he just nods, because he feels it too. The scene cuts to later that evening. The ranch glows under the orange light of sunset. Jack and Tim are in the barn, talking in hushed voices. Jack says something that makes the audience's heart tighten. "She still talks to him, you know. Not out loud, but I can see it in her eyes." Tim sighs. "You think she'll ever move on?" Jack looks toward the paddock where Amy stands with Shadow. "Maybe she's not supposed to," he says quietly. Then, there's a shift. A storm rolls in. Rain, thunder, chaos. Amy runs out to the barn to check the horses, and Nathan follows. The power flickers, lightning flashes, and for a split second, Amy sees it. A figure standing by the fence. The outline is blurry, distant but familiar. Ty, or at least what looks like him. She gasps, runs toward the fence, but when she gets there, no one's there. Just the rain, and the faint echo of hooves in the mud. The camera lingers on her face. Wet hair, trembling hands, wide eyes. The emotion is raw, real, heartbreaking. She whispers, "Ty?" But there's no answer. Only the sound of thunder fading into the distance. Nathan catches up, gently placing his hand on her shoulder. "There's no one there," he he says softly. But Amy doesn't look convinced. She looks up at the sky, and her voice breaks as she says, "Then why does it feel like he's trying to tell me something?" The scene ends on that question. The rain slows. The camera pans upward to the dark clouds, clearing just enough to let a ray of light fall directly on Amy and the horse beside her. It's beautiful, eerie, and deeply emotional. The kind of Heartland moment that makes fans pause and rewind. Episode 5 doesn't just tease drama. It promises connection between past and present, between loss and healing. Amy's journey is no longer just about moving on. It's about learning that some love stories never truly end. They just change form. And as the storm fades, one thing becomes clear. This episode will take Amy and the audience somewhere they've never been before. There's something different about episode 5. Something that goes beyond the everyday life at Heartland. It's as if the past is trying to whisper through the cracks of time. Fans have begun calling it the Ghost of Ty episode, and for good reason. Throughout the story, small details build an invisible thread that ties Amy's heart to the spirit of the man she once loved. It starts with moments that seem ordinary. A photograph falling from the wall, a barn door creaking open, a soft gust of wind carrying a familiar scent. But to Amy, these aren't coincidences. They're signs. Late at night, she sits on the porch, the ranch quiet except for the distant sound of crickets. The sky is full of stars. The same sky she once shared with Ty. She remembers his laugh, his steady hands, his voice when he promised her that love doesn't end. It just changes shape. As she looks out at the fields, the camera catches a faint glimmer, a shadow near the old corral. It's gone in a second, but the audience feels it. That chill of memory made real. The music swells, soft and nostalgic, and Amy whispers under her breath, "You're still here, aren't you?" The next morning, she tells Nathan about it, her words hesitant. "It's like I can feel him around me," she says, "like he's guiding me." Nathan listens quietly, not mocking or doubting, just listening. "Maybe he is," he finally says, his voice low. "Maybe some bonds don't break, no matter what." That moment, that single line, hits harder than any special effect. It's not about ghosts or spirits. It's about love refusing to fade. As the episode unfolds, the ghost theme becomes more symbolic than supernatural. The writers aren't trying to scare anyone. They're trying to show how grief lives on, how the people we lose continue to shape who we become. Ty's ghost isn't meant to haunt Amy. It's meant to guide her. Every time she doubts herself, she remembers something Ty once said. Every time she faces a hard choice, she feels that familiar calm she used to find in his eyes. It's as if his energy still moves through the ranch, through her horses, through the love she gives to others. Fans have started picking up on this too. Some believe Ty's spirit literally appears to Amy. Others say it's her heart, holding onto him in the only way it can. And that's the beauty of it. The show leaves the answer open. When Amy finds a horseshoe engraved with Ty's initials in the old barn, she doesn't cry or panic. She smiles. A quiet, knowing smile. Because in that moment, she doesn't need to see him to feel him. The ghost of Ty theory isn't about death. It's about presence. The invisible kind that stays with us long after someone is gone. It's the warmth in a memory, the stillness before the storm, the courage to keep moving when you're alone. And that's what makes episode 5 so powerful. It doesn't ask you to believe in ghosts. It asks you to believe in love strong enough to outlast time itself. The episode closes this theme beautifully with one haunting image. Amy standing in the field as the wind rushes past her. The sound of hooves echoing faintly, not real, but remembered. She looks to the sky, her hand over her heart, and whispers a single word, "Always." The screen fades to black, and somewhere between silence and memory, we feel Ty too. Love in Heartland has never been simple. It's quiet, patient, and often buried beneath unspoken words. In episode 5, that silence between Amy and Nathan begins to shift. It's not a sudden spark or a dramatic confession. It's something slower, gentler, the kind of connection that sneaks up on you when you least expect it. The morning after the storm, Amy finds Nathan in the barn, helping to repair the broken doors. His hands are rough from work, his shirt soaked with rain and sweat. There's no music, no dialogue, just the soft rhythm of nails meeting wood. Amy steps in, holding a cup of coffee. "Thanks for helping," she says quietly. Nathan looks up. Later, Amy watches Nathan with Lindy. He's patient, gentle, teaching her how to feed the horses without fear. Lindy laughs when the horse nuzzles her hand, and Amy's face softens. It's the first time in a long while we see her smile without pain behind it. Jack notices too. Standing on the porch, he tells Tim, That man's got a steady way about him. Reminds me of someone. Tim frowns, then nods slowly. They both know who he means. Ty. The writers of Heartland don't rush emotions, and that's what makes this episode feel real. Nathan isn't meant to replace Ty. He couldn't, and he wouldn't try. Instead, he brings something different. He listens, he stays, and slowly, Amy begins to trust again. Not because she's ready to move on, but because she realizes that life doesn't pause for grief. It flows through it. There's a scene in this episode that captures that perfectly. Amy and Nathan are fixing the fence near the pasture, the sun dipping low behind the hills. Nathan tells her about losing someone he cared about years ago. You don't stop missing them, he says, but you learn to live with the echo. Amy doesn't speak for a long time. Finally, she whispers, the echo's the hardest part. And in that moment, they both understand each other completely. Meanwhile, Lindy's innocence continues to anchor Amy's heart. One night, as they sit together reading a bedtime story, Lindy asks, Mom, do you think Daddy can see us? Amy's voice cracks just a little when she answers, I think he's always watching over us. Lindy smiles, content, and drifts to sleep. The camera lingers on Amy's face, tears catching in the glow of the nightlight. It's a scene that doesn't need words, just silence, heavy with love and loss. Back at the ranch, life continues to unfold around them. Jack offers his quiet wisdom, Tim wrestles with guilt and pride, and the whole family begins to sense that Amy is changing. Not losing Ty, but learning to live with him in a different way. That's what makes this episode so deeply human. It's not about forgetting the past or rushing toward the future. It's about carrying both in the same heart. As the night falls again over Heartland, Amy steps outside one last time. The wind moves gently, the sky painted with stars. Nathan joins her, standing a few steps away, silent. It's beautiful tonight, she says. He nods. Yeah, he replies softly. Almost feels like someone up there made it that way. Amy looks at him, then at the stars, her eyes glimmering. Maybe they did, she whispers. The scene fades, leaving viewers with a sense of warmth. Not the end of love, but the beginning of peace. Every story in Heartland has a moment where time seems to stop, where silence speaks louder than words. In episode 5, that moment belongs to Amy. After days of strange dreams and subtle signs, she finally faces what she's been avoiding. The truth that Ty's presence isn't haunting her. It's guiding her. The turning point begins in the quiet hours before dawn. The ranch sleeps, but Amy is awake, drawn to the stables by something she can't explain. The air is cold, her breath visible as she walks through the mist. Inside the barn, a lantern flickers softly, casting long shadows on the wooden walls. Shadow, the horse she's been training, paces restlessly, as if sensing the same pull. Amy approaches slowly, whispering to calm him. But as her hand brushes his mane, a sudden warmth fills the space. It's not from the lantern. It's something deeper, a feeling that seems to wrap around her heart like a familiar embrace. She closes her eyes, and then she hears it, faint, gentle, almost lost to the wind. Ty's voice, not a full sentence, just a whisper. You're doing great. Her eyes open, wide and trembling. There's no one there, only the echo of his words lingering in the air. For a moment she can't move. She doesn't want to, because in that instant she's not alone. Not in memory, not in spirit. Ty is there. Not as a ghost, but as the love that never left her. The emotion breaks her. Amy falls to her knees, tears streaming down her face. I miss you, she whispers, voice cracking. I don't know how to do this without you. But then, as if the world itself answers her pain, the barn doors creak open, and a beam of early sunlight spills in. It touches her face, soft and warm, and the scene glows with something almost sacred. The camera pulls back slowly, letting the audience feel that quiet miracle. A connection between life and afterlife, grief and grace. Later, she tells Nathan what happened. Her voice is calm but filled with wonder. I heard him, she says. Nathan doesn't question her. He just nods. Then maybe it's time to stop running from it, he says. Maybe what you're feeling isn't holding you back. Maybe it's helping you move forward. That line becomes the emotional heartbeat of the episode. The realization that grief doesn't have to fade for healing to begin. Throughout the rest of the episode, Amy moves differently. She smiles more, works with a quiet confidence that feels new but familiar. When she helps Shadow overcome his fear of the saddle, it mirrors her own journey, learning to trust again, to let life carry her forward even when part of her heart will always belong to Ty. As the episode nears its end, Amy stands on the porch at sunset, holding Lindy close. Nathan walks by, tipping his hat with a soft smile. The air hums with peace, and just before the screen fades, the wind picks up again. A small gust that rustles Amy's hair and carries a single word through the air, too faint to be certain. But if you listen closely, you can almost hear it. Always. That's the magic of episode 5. It doesn't shout its emotions. It whispers them. It's not about saying goodbye. It's about learning that love, when it's real, never really says goodbye at all. The night has fallen once more over Heartland. But this time, the darkness doesn't feel lonely. It feels peaceful. The ranch is quiet, wrapped in the soft hum of crickets and the whisper of wind through the trees. Amy stands by the fence, the same one where she once watched Ty ride into the sunset. Only now she isn't watching for someone to return. She's learning to let them go while keeping them close in her heart. The final scenes of episode 5 are breathtaking in their stillness. The camera captures every emotion on Amy's face: sadness, strength, and something new. Acceptance. She turns toward the barn where Nathan is finishing up his work for the night. Their eyes meet briefly. No words, just a silent understanding. He gives her a small nod, and she smiles back. It's not a romantic ending. It's a human one. Two souls who have both walked through loss, finding a kind of calm in each other's company. Inside the barn, Amy lights a single lantern. The glow spreads slowly, illuminating the space that once held so many memories. Of Ty, of their work, of love that once filled the air like sunlight. She places Ty's photo back on the wall, straightening it gently. Her fingers linger on the frame. "Thank you," she whispers, her voice barely audible. It's not a goodbye. It's gratitude. The kind that comes when you finally realize love doesn't disappear when someone does. Outside, the sky begins to shift. The clouds part, and the moonlight spills across the field, soft and silver. The horses lift their heads, ears twitching as if listening to something unseen. The wind carries a familiar sound, faint hoofbeats fading in the distance. Amy turns toward it, smiling through her tears. "Good night, Ty," she says softly. For a moment, it almost feels like the wind answers back. Then comes the perfect ending shot. The ranch at dawn. The light stretches across the horizon, touching every corner of the land that has carried generations of love and loss. Amy steps outside with Lindy, holding her hand. Lindy points toward the sunrise and says, "Daddy would have liked this." Amy smiles, her voice gentle and full of warmth. "He's seeing it with us," she replies. And in that moment, every viewer watching feels it too. The peace that comes after pain, the love that remains after loss. The screen slowly fades to black as the theme music begins. Quiet piano, soft strings, a melody filled with nostalgia. The title appears, Heartland Season 19, Episode 5. Then, one last line on screen. Some love stories never end. For the audience, this episode is more than just another chapter. It's a reflection, a reminder that even after the hardest goodbyes, life still offers new beginnings. Ty's spirit may not walk the ranch anymore, but his presence lives in every sunrise, every heartbeat of the horses, and every moment Amy chooses to keep moving forward. And as the video narration closes, your voice draws the viewers back in one last time. What do you think? Is Ty truly gone? Or does his spirit still ride with Amy across Heartland's open fields? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Heartland breakdowns and emotional insights. Because sometimes, the quietest moments tell the loudest stories. The music fades, the screen darkens, and we're left with the feeling that somewhere in the wind, Ty is still there,